bill. Joining me now is Congressman Khanna of California. He is the deputy whip for the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Thank you very much for being here. I want to let you listen to Senator Kyrsten Sinema, who seems like at this point she's sort of competing with Joe Manchin to see who's going to be the most obstructionist, most flagrantly obstructionist. Here she is talking about the frustrations of your caucus.
What do you say that progressives that are frustrated that they don't know where you are?
I'm in the Senate. Right here.
The progressives? There are progressives within the Senate that are frustrated that they don't know where you are either.
I'm like literally right here at the elevator.
I don't know if that was supposed to be a joke, Congressman. Kyrsten Sinema was in the House, partly overlapping when you were there. She was there from 2013 to 2019. You've been there since 2017. Do people consider her at this point to be an honest negotiator, or just doing that smirky, comedic thing, whatever she thinks she's doing, and not acting in good faith?
Well, first of all, Joy, congratulations on getting her on tape. I've never seen her do an interview. It's like an oracle, an enigma. I mean, she never comes on television. She never answers journalism. This is the first time she's actually talking to the press.
Can I just say, that wasn't,
yes.
Though I will just have to not take credit for that personally, because you're absolutely right. We have invited her to be on this show repeatedly, and she's repeatedly said no. But go on.
So I guess the question is, what does she want? I mean, we have had so many people have overtures to her, and the few who have gotten a response say she doesn't want to discuss anything until the bipartisan bill passes. Now, she never reached out to any of us when she was, quote unquote, coming up with this consensus agreement. But the progressives have compromised so much, from $6 trillion to $3.5 trillion. We've compromised in saying it doesn't even have to pass the Senate first. We're willing to have an agreement in principle. We've said that we're willing to negotiate and come down and front load the benefits and reduce some of the years. But how can we negotiate and compromise when the other person isn't even willing to have a starting offer? Not just to us, but not to the president. And that's what's so frustrating to so many people.
I think for a lot of people who are observing this, it feels like Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin just want to bank the $1.2 trillion bill that they negotiated with an all-white conservative set of friends. They want that bill to pass, and then afterwards they have no problem walking away from the $3.5 trillion bill. Here's Joe Manchin essentially saying, just take the bill we did and call it a win. Take a listen. Oh, hold on. I will just read it to you. Hold on. Let me find it. He says here, spending trillions of dollars. Oh, no, sorry. Okay, spending trillions of dollars on new and expanded government programs when we can't even pay for the essential social programs is the definition of fiscal insanity. I've made it clear to all those who would listen. We need to means test any social programs so that we're helping those in need the most, not spend for the sake of spending. And then one more. This is element 2 for my producers. Today, he said he had never heard of the linkage between the two bills. Said he never heard of it, that the two of them will be linked together. On June 29th, he said, I'm not going to vote for the other one because you haven't guaranteed the vote for everything. You've never done legislation that way. So he's saying they're not linked. But back on June 24th, not that long before that, he said that the linked strategy is the only strategy we have. Reconciliation is inevitable. So just say similar question to what I asked about Sinema. Do you have any idea where Joe Manchin stands and whether there's a real, genuine commitment that they'll ever vote on the reconciliation bill?
Joy, I think Senator Manchin will come along if Kyrsten Sinema isn't out there obstructing. He always does at the end, and I believe he wants this president to succeed. He's in a state that Trump carried by 30%. Now, I think on the substance, I disagree with him. If you look at the inflationary pressure, Robert Rubin has made this point. Larry Summers, centrists have said if you have a bill where you raise taxes and it's paid for, it does not have an inflationary impact. And this is over 10 years of productive investment. So the economics suggests that this bill is not going to have an inflationary impact. But I actually believe he's going to get on board. The question is, why is there this artificial deadline of Thursday? Senator Manchin says we want to negotiate in good faith. Fine, let's continue to negotiate over a few weeks. Why did Senator Sinema create this deadline that if we don't do something on Thursday, I'm going to walk? I mean, who legislates like that? She's a first-term senator. I mean, as a first-term member of the Congress or even a third-term member of Congress, if I said, if I'm not going to get my way, I'm going to walk, the speaker would laugh at me, understandably. Politics is a team sport. And at the end of the day, we have to act on behalf of the American public, and we have to understand we have a president, President Biden, we have a Speaker of the House and Senate Majority Leader. They've been there for many years. They have experience. We can disagree, but have some respect and have some sense that there's a coach and someone's in charge of the team.
Let's go back, and I'm going to ask you sort of a similar question to the first one I asked you. Jen Psaki said that the sense that the White House has is that in the end, Kyrsten Sinema does want reconciliation to pass. Do you have that sense?
If she's acting in her own political interest, I mean, Nate Silver had a great post today saying that this is irrational from a political actor's perspective. She's basically inviting a primary challenge, and she won't win on the Republican side because the Republican base will never accept her vote. So I don't understand how she could sink the Democratic agenda. It's not rational. Here's what was remarkable to me about Jen Psaki's statement. We have a sense that she may want that. I mean, can you imagine? He's the president of the United States.
Do you
imagine? Yeah.
Do you imagine that maybe the alternate explanation is that she's doing what her donors want because maybe she doesn't care about running for re-election? Perhaps her relationship with those financial donors is what she wants.
Well, look, I don't want to speculate on her integrity or her motives, but I will say this. Just optics-wise, why would you have those fundraisers in the midst of this discussion? It just shows, at the very least, it shows an indifference for the suspicion and the skepticism out there in the American public. And Joy, think about this. If there was a progressive woman of color who was holding up the entire president and Democratic Party's agenda, imagine the outrage that they would face. And it is just remarkable to me that we have let this situation get to this point where a single first-term senator from a state that the president carried, when her own colleague, Mark Kelly, is fully on board, is holding up the entire Democratic agenda, holding up benefits for the working class and middle class, child care, free community college, expansion of Medicare so people can go to their dentist or get basic hearing aids. I mean, it's unconscionable.
We will continue to ask Senator Sinema to come on this show and explain all of that to our audience, to her colleagues in Congress. And you're right, I think it might be more respectful for her to at least answer those questions. We shall see. Congressman Khanna, thank you very much. Really appreciate you being here this evening.